Today I'm fortunate to have with me two of my old friends, two of the early people involved in racing in Hawaii Raceway Park, Mr. Nakano and Mr. Ralph Reis. Thanks for coming, guys.
No problem.
What do you think prompted Jimmy Fluger to build a racetrack? How do you suppose that got started?
I believe because when I was a young kid in my teens, he was already racing at Kahuku, and he had a dragster and a pretty fast one, and I think that's how he got motivated into racing. But maybe Ralph knows a little bit more than I do about that. But, that's how I remember Jimmy, is racing at Kahuku and going on from there.
He raced almost everything, right?
You're right. He raced
on the
streets and
stock car racing.
We all did the same. We raced on the streets, but he raced stock car. He raced bikes. He raced. I mean, you name it, and he raced it.
He was motorized. He raced it.
Right.
All the way to even still piloting helicopters today.
Right.
Oh man. Yeah. Oh, that's terrific. What got you guys started in any form of legal, illegal racing? What was it?
Mine, I don't know. Ralph got his own probably story. Mine started in when I was probably 12 or 13 years old, and we used to call it putt-putts, but they were like Powell motor scooters, and that's how I started in kind of getting interested in racing. Competitive. We used to run against each other and started modifying them and putting bicycle frames on them, and we used to race down Date Street right off of Couple 11. And that's how I started my career in racing, and then it escalated from there. And I don't know about Ralph when he started.
My dad got interested in it. I always was interested in cars from when I was a kid. I thought the greatest thing in the world was to be, as you know, well, to be a mechanic.
Yes.
Fix your own car.
Great life.
What a dumb idea that was.
Yes, sir.
I mean, but yeah, my dad raced at Kahuku, and with my mom pounding on him and him telling her that we were just going to go watch the races, but he'd get out there and race. And she's dead now, so you can say this. And then I got into it, and then in high school, raising hell, and racing his car and breaking the transmission and telling him, oh, no promise, I was just going slow. And from there, we went from that all the way up to blown dragsters, and a lot of money, a lot of fun, no real regrets. I mean, I had a good run.
Definitely.
Pepsi Challenger, right?
Right. Yeah. At one time, I don't know what they're running. I mean, what the guys here are running, but at one time that was the fastest small block on the whole island. We were the first guys to run blown Alki and run with the rest of the guys who was all running Chrysler engines and stuff. And so it was a pretty good experiment and pretty good feat.
And yours, Donald, was Nakano Bennett, right?
Yeah, the dragster, the old Keeling and Clayton car that we bought from the mainland and brought it over here was one of the very first. I forgot 5-second cars.
That could run
that
ran 5 for Krieger, I believe. That's basically.
Well, Donald also had a funny car and he drove it.
Yeah.
Way back when.
That was Roland Leong's one of Roland's old,
big old Dodge, probably heavier than a regular Mustang on the road right now.
I got out of it real fast too.
Just a short step in the history of Raceway Park, right?
Very short.
6 guys to take the body off the car.
But that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's all. But we kind of all started when we were young, and like he said, raced my father's cars, and he definitely used to know that when I raced his cars.
couldn't bullshit.
No, couldn't bullshit my dad.
Yeah.
Dad was not into racing, not like Ralph's dad. No, just started and bought my first car was a 34 Ford, 2-door, with them suicide doors.
Right. Yes.
Pull the choke out and go to drive-ins thinking you're a big badass. I'm not a big bad person.
All right. Yeah.
Hoping the engine don't die because we'll never get it started again. The plums are all wet.
Put it out.
You got to push start and replace.
6-volt start.
Come on, baby.
15 cents in the tank and 2 cents in the carburetor. So gas was cheap then, not like now.
The first thing when you borrowed your parents' car, as soon as you went around the corner, you stopped the car, took the air cleaner off,
Yep.
threw it in the trunk, chomp, 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 chomp. Sounded so rugged. Really.
He was
And
bad.
then the old air cleaners weren't paper filters, they were oil baths.
Right, they're all
And if
oil
you
baths.
didn't- The first time you do that and you don't remember, that thing rolls over and you fall in the
Yeah,
trunk.
yeah.
And how you explain all this oil in the trunk?
Is that extra cord oil?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, goodness.
that was the good old days.
Well,
But we had fun.
what motivated you to want to become the promoter at the track?
Well,
Actually,
that
when
came
did you first
probably
do
by basically sort of like accident.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, in 1971 was the first time I took the racetrack, and was with my friend Wayne Kanai, and he and I made this promotion company called DNW, which standard for Donald and Wayne.
Okay.
And we used to do, we started out there, and then we used to do car shows. And we did one of the, not one, we did the first hot rod show in Maui. And we took over a lot of cars. I don't know how I ever did that, but we took over a bunch of cars. And that was an experience. And then Ralph knows a lot about doing promotions on the other islands and things like that. But getting back to, I just thought that you know, I could run the racetrack, and you know, what was a influence in my business at that time. I had Hawaii Racing Parts.
Right, okay.
And it was
speed shops.
yeah, but you know, sort of I could intertwine both of them together. But I found out that running a racetrack and running a speed shop is two different cowboys.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, so I learned from that experience, and I gave it up. And I think Ralph and Ron Uemura took over the track in, I think, 72.
72.
And then they ran it till, I don't know, Ralph got out of it in
I got out of it,
73, 74.
We picked up the track in October of '72, I believe. We took it over to Donald. We're on Maui, Ronnie and I, taking inventory in one of his stores. And Jack called us in Maui, found us, tell us if we wanted to take the racetrack over. So Ronnie said, well, I can't do it because I'm too busy. You want to do it? Spur of the moment, I was in a racetrack business.
Okay.
So I ran the racetrack, and I was in sales before, so it kind of like selling a product. And I was a racer, so I knew what the product was. And I put together some programs, and we did the big race in December, which was Salt Pack.
Yeah, that was everybody's big.
Yeah,
That's
that's
where you're gonna make your money, or you ain't
made
gonna
up
make
for
your
the
money.
year.
Yeah, that's
And we made money, and no sooner we made money for the racetrack, Jimmy Flugas said, well, Camel Estate is on my back, so you need to beautify the front or you're going to close the racetrack down. So I told Ronnie, fine with me, let's cut and run, man, I'm done. Finally made some money off it, because I was doing it for nothing. I was doing it for nothing. And I mean, me and him put the same amount of money in it, and now we could have walked away with some money, and he wanted to put it all back into the thing, and I wanted to walk, so I walked. And I walked after a few months, and opened up a speed shop. That was a more brilliant idea than what.
We're making the chips now.
Yeah. You want to learn how to do real quick, open up a speed shop. Especially during the gas crisis.
Yes, sir.
So, and move to Maui and do it on top of that.
Oh, no.
So,
Oh, goodness.
yeah, that's, and then I was up in Maui doing this, that. I had my business, it didn't go well, I closed it up, I came back here. I opened up a paint shop, and I started getting back into the racing thing, and put together a race on Maui, a car show and a race and everything and whatnot, and took over a lot of cars. In fact, I think he was one of the guys that went over it all.
I always enjoyed those races.
Took Donald's car, everybody. We all went up and we ran, and I mean, it was a real good event. But I had a partner who was collecting at the gate, so once again, suck wind. And but you know, and I learned. Donald told me, gotta take care of the gate. That's where the money was in. So never again, you know, let anybody be a partner or take care of the gate.
That's it.
And from then, Donald saw what I did with the racetrack. I mean, how I promoted the thing. So he approached me. This was in '76. He approached me to run Hawaii Raceway Park. And I was still doing my paintings, but then I was helping him out, running the racetrack. And
Yeah, but that was, you had left and then ran it for maybe another year or two.
no, but this was way later, in '76.
Yeah, because I took back the racetrack in either
76.
late '74 or early '75.
Yeah.
That's when I took the racetrack back, and then I managed it for 21 years. From
Well,
then on, I did.
I remember the time we went to Maui was in '76 because it was the 200th birthday of the country. I did everything in red, white, and blue. The whole show team, the posters, everything was all red, white, and blue.
I think I have one of those still.
And shortly after that is when I ended up helping him, you know, do the advertising and running the race and listening to the complaints.
Dealing with the.
What did we have? DNR Promotions.
Yeah,
Right?
dear enough, promotion.
Ralph and Donald.
What was his
No,
creative
Donald
name?
was first. DNR. Yeah, we had that. I remember that.
Yeah, but I think that was under the blanket of that D and W.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah.
But it was, you know, it was all about Bob, and you know, we put together a program. We never cut back on the purses. What we advertised is what we paid.
One thing I always remember.
And
What you posted is what you paid.
Yep.
and we, you know, took our lumps and smiled sometimes and cried sometimes, and
Like any business.
yeah.
Yeah, we up
But
and
the
down.
biggest race we ever put together at Hawaii Raceway Park is I put together this thing with Pearl Ridge Shopping Center, where we said Santa Claus is going to arrive with the fastest car in Hawaii, and we dressed Jack Gamble up in a Santa Claus suit, and
That was something.
we parked the car way down where Penny's was before,
Right.
and put the roller car through the water and did a burnout, and that whole parking lot full of smoke and everything. And Jack jumped out of there, the shortest Santa Claus you ever saw in your life, tossing candy and everything and everything.
Kids screaming.
Kids screaming, yelling. And
Mothers yelling.
So
That was a good promotion.
I told him, Donald, we better open up the spectator side of the racetrack. He tells me, no, the pit side is enough. Well, the cops were turning them away on the freeway because
The
whole
line was
freeway-
all the way up to the freeway.
The freeway was blocked. That's how many people. We couldn't take them in fast enough.
Those are the days.
Yeah.
Well, that was the one time.
The one time,
Yeah,
that was
one
that.
One
that
big-
And even if we had the other gate open, Donald who never wanted to be in the front line, was out there collecting tickets. Me, our pockets were full of money. We didn't have a cash register. We were prepared with taking money out and counting tickets. When he'd come by, I'd give him a whole bunch of money. He'd say, wait a minute, that's mine. And taking my money too. You know?
Keep track.
That was the biggest event I ever had.
That was the big. But there were other big events out there. I mean,
But-
not that we did. I mean,
Yeah, they did a lot of advertising, but the amount of money they spent to advertise the race, well, you couldn't get it back out of the
Yeah,
gate.
you wouldn't get it back.
Yeah.
I would say that one of the guys that did the most and spent the most money out there and to keep that track alive, besides Jimmy Sluga, had to have been Ernie Jackson.
Yeah, Ernie Jackson.
Took the racetrack over. He put bleachers in. He fixed the tower. He fixed a lot. He did a lot of infrastructure into the thing.
So did Ron.
And
Ron
but
did
not
too.
like
No, yeah, not like anybody.
But then what he did, I mean, they used to bring in cars from the mainland, but it was like cheap cars to run from the mainland.
Right.
Ernie brought in 2 first-class cars.
Yeah.
He brought in Paisano Matsubara, and he brought in brought in, oh yeah, I remember that. I remember working on the car.
Yeah, and Jim Dunn, I believe.
Yeah, and Jim Dunn. He had the rear engine funny car.
That's right.
And man, he packed them in here. They came back. They packed them in again. Went to Maui, packed them in. Ran. I think they ran 3 times here, and crashed the car.
Yeah.
Yeah. And blew the engine on the first one.
Yeah.
And they kept the car at another guy who used to race the track, Pat Patterson, at his house.
Yeah, that's a long time.
And we ended up.
It's way before our time.
Yeah. I ended up working on the motor on the car. I remember. Me, Frank Abraham, a whole bunch of guys.
Trying to help them.
Amazed.
But getting back to people who you want to say that basically made the racetrack at Hawaii Raceway Park is Jimmy Pfluger. Mr. Pfluger was a very big part in you know, having a home for the people that the racing enthusiasts. You know, both in stock car and drag racing, and he used to have bike racing. He made a track to satisfy every racer, and I basically say he was the most influential person to bring drag racing to where it is today. I mean, you know, from getting a real nice,
giving it a facility.
you know, at that time, one of, you know, first class racetracks at that time. You know, of course, you know.
And nobody, it would be almost impossible to do what he did back then, because he had the connections within Campbell State to get the lease. His parent, I mean, he came from a very influential family, and he had engineers that were interested in racing who did the engineering work. They did the drafting. They had attorneys. They got Harry Greenstein, who used to race sports cars. Bill Lacey, who had a fencing company and steel company, and he did all the fencing and everything and whatnot. So he got
the guy to draw that tower.
Yeah, he got
so
designed
that
put
tower.
the 76 ball on the tower and got Union Oil to pay for it. So the story goes that after they held their first weekend of racing, which I believe was a 4th of July racing, they were overheard. Jimmy was overheard talking to his mom in a restaurant saying, "Well, we paid all the bills with this one race." So
well, I don't know about that part.
I don't know about that.
Yeah,
but I mean,
but I see, because of the help, there's a good possibility it did.
Yeah, because it was all.
But you know.
But he was the guy.
The man
anybody
that
deserved it.
stepped up to the plate.
Yeah, that's it.
And he's the one stepped up to the plate and did the groundwork where everybody else, you know, we would still be racing down Kahuku.
Well, yeah.
Or wherever, you know.
And even at Kahuku, I mean, like when Jimmy used to race at Kahuku, they used to race stock car. A lot of the stock car racers, they would race on Saturday night, take the engine out of the stock car on Saturday night, put it in the drag car, and go race the drag car Sunday morning. And go Kahuku. The motor was probably still warm.
Yeah, a lot of them flathead Fords.
Yeah. This guy, Moki Maimori, he had a 6 carburetor Chevrolet, and they would take the engine out of the stock car and put it in a dragster to race the next
A
day.
flying bed screen or something they used to call that car, or whatever it was. If that car would crash, they would be gone. Because the roll bar was below their neck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the way the roll bar was.
Yeah, there was that one car that flying bed screen. That was a flathead. That was owned by the guy Blackie Number.
Yeah.
And he used to build the fastest flathead racing engines here. The shop was in Pro City, right where that Chevron station is in front of Long's.
Right in front of Long's.
And it was a Chevron station, and that's where he built the engines, right there.
Yeah, that was the good old days.
Yes. That's when it was a fun deal. Like it, I think I want to advance it a little bit more.
They didn't have computers. No computers. No mathematicians.
No weather station.
Now you can tell. They can tell a car what it's doing from when it first leaves the line, every inch of the way.
The only thing that hasn't changed is the minute any racer got a sponsor, every other racer is trying to steal that sponsor.
That's right.
That never changed. It's still today. They're still doing it today.
It's still doing it. Do you Do you have a certain moment, Ralph, that you would consider a highlight at Hawaii Raceway Park in your racing career out there?
My racing career? Yeah, when we ran a tad under 200 miles an hour with a small block Chevy. I think that was my highlight of my racing career. We ran 199.6, I believe it was. Just shy of 200. And I mean, I had fun with that car. Well, I had two cars. The first one and the second. The second one a little faster than the first one. And I got to contribute a lot of that to Phil Suarez. He helped me a lot with putting that whole deal together. And I mean, that was a big challenge. We took an engine out of a sedan and go out there and race with all of these guys with aluminum engines. You know what I mean? We didn't have an aluminum engine. We had an iron engine out of one Chevrolet. You know, and we're out there running against these guys with, you know, $4,000 blocks. Ours was $40. You know what I mean?
Supercharged automobile engine.
I mean, the heads, the crank, all that stuff was all good stuff, but the basic block was, you know,
it's still fragile.
Talking about Phil, he did have a fast dragster too, along with Earl Chow. Earl Chow had a lot of had a lot of highlights at Hawaii Raceway Park.
Earl Chow is
one of the pioneers too in racing.
I think Earl Chow, you know, Jack went to the mainland, George Campbell went to the mainland, all those guys went to the mainland.
But Earl
went there and he qualified Pomona top fuel.
You know, say that
brand new car.
He's talking that's
a bunch of hayseeds tuning in from Hawaii. And they went out there and they qualified.
Ran some numbers.
And he ran a few rounds too, I believe. You know.
So you know those guys they were sort of like pioneers too. You know, we were kind of like racetrack kind of guys and involved in everything, but they were kind of like in driving drag racing.
There's a lot of guys. I mean, memorable, there's good and bad. I remember Danny Vita dying there.
Yes.
Yeah, Danny Vita was a man too.
A lot about that.
Danny Vita was.
The guy was. I mean, he'd come to Kahuku to race with his old Plymouth with a rumble seat. The kids would get out and he put the big tires on. Somebody else would bring them down in the trunk, and he'd get out there and he couldn't let the clutch off real quick on the starting line, because if he did, the thing would probably break the drivetrain. And what he'd do is he's running these Chevrolets and he was running B gas. Nobody wanted to run B gas. I mean, that's the one. He don't run A gas. They don't run B gas.
Where's Vita running? B gas. Oh, we're gonna run A gas. We're gonna move up.
And he would ease that thing out of the gate like ooh, and slowly get into the throttle. And he must have had a real high gear in that thing, because that low gear took him almost half track. And when he put that thing in second,
it was gone.
Goodbye. I mean, there was a guy that was running a blown supercharged 58 Chevrolet, and that thing had everything in it. And he would just leave that old car, and about half track, here comes that old piece of iron just come right around,
sucking him up.
Yeah.
He was a man in a gas class at those days. It was sad when he got killed.
Yeah.
That's what we've heard the stories about what kind of influence he had out there.
Oh yeah, he was a smart guy, very smart guy. Well, you know, I mean, but not taking any of it. I mean, Earl Shaw and them did. Jack went up. He did pretty good in it. I mean, George Campbell went. He did. I give him credit. He did the entire tour. He started off at the Winter Nationals and went all the way to the World Finals and was completely broke and everything. But he can say I did it. He can run up to Ken Vinny in Indy. I mean, how many guys from Hawaii can say that he ran Indy? And it rained out, and both cars were hurt, but Ken Vinny had more parts than him. Came back to win the race. If not,
would have been a tie.
No, he would have won the race. I mean, the other car was hurt more than him. But you know,
I remember.
But as all, everybody started from Coco.
Remember George? He was telling me that. I remember he used to come over and had the other shop.
Yeah.
And he come over. He was telling me that incident you're talking about. And he said they. And I remember he mentioned the little guys, alcohol guys, but NHRA wants you to look like top fuel guys. You're supposed to conduct yourself in a pro manner.
Yeah. Without the money.
But nobody pays.
No money at
No
that
money.
time. They were racing for peanuts,
Yeah.
not
You,
like today.
You don't have a time that you consider the highlight of your racing with, with
My
your
highlight
cars?
of if by running a racetrack and having a car run. If you're talking about the car, probably my highlights were beating Jack Cameron.
Yep. I would imagine that is an accomplishment. I beat him a couple of times, but not in the dragster now.
But if you're talking about the race guy, yeah, that was. That was everybody had their competition,
Yeah, you always said
and
the
Jack
guy you
was
like
the
to
one
beat.
that you basically want to beat. So
That's it. The guy you like to beat.
so that's if you're talking about that kind of highlight.
Well, the
But
racetrack.
the racetrack highlights is what Ralph talked about. That
Yeah.
race where we had Jack do that funny car with
Funny
that
car, Santa
Santa Claus suit, and
Fantastic.
that was something. I mean, I'm so glad that car didn't go haywire.
Yeah. Thinking back now.
Yeah, you think it back now.
Yeah, security. We had a lot of security.
But the safety
It would have
factor.
snapped an axle or
Yeah.
something.
Something would happen, yeah.
But I told him once it gets out of the water, get out
Get off
of
the
it because while it was in the water, it's not going to break anything.
That's
you know
it.
what I
No
mean?
load. Yeah.
But Jack ain't gonna listen.
No, no. I didn't. You're not going to exactly let anybody tell him too much.
JC is gonna do what he's gonna do. You know what I mean? Whatever's gonna make people get excited about anything. But that was one of the most highlights. The other highlights were buggins.
Oh, yes. Some of the biggest events out
big
there.
events out there were those VWs, the
Yep.
mini car racing. And then Yellow Brown, I can't forget him. He was influential in getting street racing started out there, where we ran from evening to morning. I mean, from dusk to dawn, or
Dusk to
however you
dawn.
want to.
Right, yeah.
And that's how we used to run till like 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. Street racing, and then naturally the people up at Makakiro started complaining.
Yeah, then they start, yeah.
Yeah, because and you don't blame them.
No, understand.
So then we had a sort of curfew. But Yellow Brown was
Yeah, he was the,
one of
he was
the
the
guys.
godfather of street racing.
Right, he was the godfather. I give him all the credit because he kind of made me stay at holding on to the dragster, because you couldn't depend only on the
monthly event,
yeah,
or
the monthly
the one big monthly
yeah,
race,
no.
yeah.
You would have to have that street racing thing going, and
Yeah.
he was very influential in bringing that to where it went.
So, yeah,
Until they closed the racetrack. Without street racing, there's no way you can
yeah, you know
you
you
can
can make
afford the racetrack. You
Which
have-
goes back to, you got a lot of kids off on the street.
right. And,
They're all on the street.
and talking about that now, and they all.
You're never gonna get all
All
the
of them.
guys who race off the street, but at least
Least.
you can really
Yeah.
punish them when you say you got a place for you guys to go. So what the hell are you doing on the street?
Right.
Yes.
Right now, yeah, it's against the law, but you got no place else to do it. The bike guys got a place to go.
And that's
everybody's
sad,
got a place to
that-
go,
yeah.
and these poor kids got no place to
Yeah,
go.
no place to
And we're the biggest
I don't know.
population, the biggest,
Yes.
not the biggest state, but in
Our island,
right,
people-
most race cars are here, most races are here,
Yeah.
and yet we don't have no racetrack for none of the people that are racetrack,
On
into
top of that,
racing,
Our racetrack was privately owned. All the other racetracks on the neighbor islands, which we probably paid for with our big tax dollars
Yeah.
on this island, they got either state or county run facilities.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They were paid by the county. And it's a shame. And
Yeah, it is.
It's
It's
to the
a-
point where land is so expensive, I don't know how they're gonna do it, but it's really a shame. I mean, we should maybe sell one of those neighbor island racetracks, get back our money and open one here.
Yeah,
I
and then
don't
we
know.
can afford one.
We get the island guys coming over here and hanging me for that.
Did we getting calls?
Well, it's sad that they closed the one that we did have, because that would have been the most practical one
Yeah,
to
that's-
keep going,
That's
because it
location.
was there.
That's right.
Had some upgrading to do, but it wouldn't cost as much as making a racetrack from ground up. Yeah. You know, that one right there would have been the best, and I don't understand why, you know, what happened, but it happened. So that's the way it goes.
Yeah, it's unfortunate to lose our home like that.
Yeah, that's very sad.
It's still in the right spot. There can't make rails complete. It's the best spot.
Well, actually, once upon a time, there was a guy named Mel Pastana, my cousin, in fact.
Yes.
And he had a whole plan to do a whole racing complex out at San Island. He had the thing all professionally done.
All done.
Everything done. I mean, all the plans.
I've seen all the plans.
Yeah.
Beautiful place.
Yep, everything.
Yep.
But there were too many people there, too many businesses that wanted things in there. That would have been a perfect thing because it was close enough to town.
Right.
And it was far enough out in an industrial area where the noise
factor wouldn't be a
problem because you got airplanes flying over that are a lot louder than most of those race cars. And I mean, you know, Mel was a pretty clever guy. He was the guy that put together that motocross track. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I mean, he was, you know, just not enough political clout.
Didn't have the clout.
Yeah, to put it together.
You have anything else we should add, sir?
They covered everything without you even asking.
That's it. I knew that would be. I knew this would.
Good promoters.
This would be the best interview. This would be the best interview there is. I know it will be. Kel's going to want to see this one.
Yeah, I know.
Anything else, or just wrap it up?
You can wrap it up, then I can do the video release.
And then do the release. Okay. All right. Well, ready? Okay. Well, I'd like to thank you guys for coming today. I knew this would be the best interview. I knew it was going to be the most fun too.
Yeah. Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
I kind of enjoyed
It
it.
was my pleasure.
I thought I was going to get a makeup guy to take care of the wrinkles.
Yeah, the wrinkles in the gray hair, they are here.
Yeah, and the lack of hair.
The lack of hair.
Yeah. That's it.
Speak for yourself.